All right, I want to take a quick minute and just pretend you're in my office and you're saying, I don't know how to look for research and I'm not really sure how to construct my presentation. I feel like I need information and I'm struggling. So I want to walk you through 3 steps to kind of do that. We're going to call this claim, evidence, and reasoning. You might have done this in 4th or 5th grade or middle school or maybe in high school. So my hope is it sounds familiar. But first you're going to start with your claim. Sit down on a note card, a piece of paper. Decide what it is you're saying is the problem or the need or the solution. What is going on? Or what do we need? People need to communicate more. Then you can work backwards. The problem is relationships are failing, and then figure out what the reason for the problem is. But decide your claim, where you're going. And then here's what I want you to do. When you collect information, we're going to call this evidence, but I want you to hear it as education. Go out into research and say, can I find a statistic, a study, or academic support that will align with what I think? It will align with what I'm saying the problem is. I need to find statistics and studies that will really support. We're going to call this the education piece. And so just go collect them. Go find them, pull them that says 50% of women and 30% of Americans, and this is what's happening in the state, and they did a study here. Go get it. Put it all together because it will build your argument. So you're going to lead with education. So you start with your claim. Then you want to go find information that supports what you're saying is wrong or supports the need that exists or supports what we should do. And then here's what I want you to think about. After you provide a statistic or a study, in your presentation, think through, how can I make this make sense? When we're doing instead of calling evidence, we're calling it education. Instead of calling it reasoning, I want to call it an explanation or example. So elaborate, provide a story, maybe a metaphor, use pathos, that emotional language. But lead with the data statistics. You got a statistic or a study that you can share, and then explain it or provide an example that echoes what you're saying. I was working with my daughter recently, and I was trying to use a metaphor to explain something about life to persuade her to change her behavior a little bit. And I shared some statistics, and then I shared a metaphor, and I began to elaborate on the metaphor. And she said, at the beginning I didn't really get it, but as you kept talking, suddenly it made sense. And so that is what you want to do. So start with your end game. What is your claim? What is it? Where are you going? Then go find all the statistics and studies you can that support what you're saying. And then in your presentation, start to list, is there a story I could tell? Is there a metaphor that would help this make sense? So if you're trying to explain why we should recycle, you're going to use things that we can get our head around, metaphors that we understand. I like to use sports metaphors with my siblings because I have 4 brothers. And it's what makes sense to them. So if I'm explaining connecting with my kids or being effective at work, I might use language like, I hit a home run. But that makes sense to their brain. So stories, metaphors, that's the pathos or the emotional appeal. So as you're putting information together and developing your message, I want you to sort of use these techniques. I hope that it's helpful as you're preparing your presentation.